Rent's up 80%, time to grow up, Dad said at Thanksgiving dinner. For 3 years, I worked 80-hour weeks. Kept the family business afloat. Missed birthdays. Paid their taxes. Twice. Then they gave my sister a Lexus. Our golden girl deserves comfort, Mom added. I didn't blink. That night, I froze every account and emailed one folder. Rent's up 80%, time to grow up, Dad said, carving into his turkey like he hadn't just set fire to my last thread of patience. Everyone laughed. Except me. Mom clinked her glass and added, maybe it's a blessing. You've been floating too long, honey. This could be the push you need. She didn't look at me when she said it. She looked at my sister, who rolled her eyes and whispered something to her fiancé, then laughed like they were in on a joke I hadn't been told. I sat there chewing my stuffing like it was drywall, nodding like this was normal. Like we didn't just have this conversation 3 months ago when they raised the rent on my childhood bedroom, the one with the peeling posters still on the wall and the creaky door that never shut right. I'd moved out 2 weeks later. But apparently that wasn't enough. Apparently, cutting the umbilical cord needed to come with a slap. Dad poured more wine. Your sister's moving up. Lexus finally came through. Leather seats. Backup cam. None of that cheap junk you drive. He grinned at her like she cured cancer. Our golden girl deserves comfort. Mom raised her glass again. To family. The real kind. I didn't blink. I didn't flinch. I didn't say a single word. Because this was the same family that hadn't paid their property taxes until I bailed them out. Twice. The same family whose family business had been losing money until I worked 80-hour weeks for free to rebuild their back-end systems, set up their e-commerce, handle the customer returns no one else wanted to touch. I missed birthdays. Canceled dates. Put my own career on hold. Not because I wanted applause. Because I thought this is what family does. But now, they gave her a Lexus. And I got a turkey leg and a lecture about maturity. That night, I sat in my car outside their house. The cold seeping through the glass. Engine off. Phone in hand. I opened the folder I'd been building for months quietly, methodically. Screenshots. Tax records. The loan Dad co-signed in my name without asking. The audio clip where Mom told a neighbor I was lazy but useful. The video from the office security cam showing me working overnight while my sister posted photos from Cabo. Then I froze every account with my name on it. And I hit send. One email. One folder. One subject line. Let's see who's grown up now. They didn't react right away. Of course they didn't. They were used to me cleaning up after them quietly, like a ghost with a wallet. But by Monday, the storm had started. First came the messages. Dad, what is this? You touching my accounts. You think you can just sabotage your own family? This is financial abuse, and you're out of control. Mom, we didn't mean to hurt your feelings, sweetheart. Please, let's talk this out. You're overreacting. Family makes mistakes. But we love you. And my sister, of course. Well, way to make Thanksgiving about you. You're literally ruining lives over a car. Grow up. Mom hasn't stopped crying. Are you proud of that? I didn't answer. I just watched and waited. Then came the public shift. Tuesday afternoon, I got tagged in a Facebook post. A blurry photo of my sister standing by the Lexus, fake tears in her eyes, captioned, "When people you trust betray you for attention. But I'm still standing. Hashtag family first, hashtag golden girl forever." 2 hours later, Mom posted her own, an old photo of all of us at the beach, me cut off at the edge of the frame. The caption read, "Real families stay together. Even when one member tries to destroy everything." Over 70 comments. People I hadn't heard from in years chiming in. Stay strong. You've always been such a wonderful mom. Your son will come around. They always do. One of my aunts even DM'd me to say, whatever issues you have, airing dirty laundry like this is disgusting. You used to be better than this. That's when I knew. This wasn't about the Lexus. This wasn't about rent. This was about control. And they weren't ready to lose it. So I gave them more to panic about. I logged into the back end of the family business, a mid-sized local delivery service that only still existed because of the logistics system I had coded for free. I disabled the custom analytics dashboard. Then I locked the admin panel and changed the recovery email. Within 1 hour, my father called 6 times. Then he switched tactics and emailed, "Don't be stupid. I know you built this, but the company is still in my name. You want to get sued?" I replied with 2 words. Do it. By Friday, the real game began. I received a letter from a debt collection agency addressed to me, but for a loan I'd never taken. Except I had. Apparently. Because 2 years ago, Dad had used my name and social security number to secure a $40,000 business loan. Back then, he told me he needed me to co-sign a short-term agreement, that he'd pay it off in 3 months. I never saw the paperwork. I never touched the money. I only knew because I got a soft credit inquiry last year, which he said was a clerical error. Now it was in default. I called the agency, submitted an affidavit, and opened a fraud investigation. Then I called a lawyer, a former client I helped out of a data loss disaster for free. He owed me. Within 2 hours, the entire loan was frozen. Dad's credit score tanked overnight. On Sunday, Mom called sobbing. "Why are you doing this? This isn't you. We're a family. You don't destroy your father's life." But that's where she was wrong. I wasn't destroying it. I was just pulling back the curtain. The next week, I got a tip from an old coworker who used to help out at the warehouse. She'd heard from one of the part-time drivers that Dad had been saying I embezzled funds from the business, that I left them in the red and ran off with client data. That's when I knew it wasn't just panic anymore. They were building a narrative. So I burned the script. I uploaded a public post on LinkedIn, a professional, calm, detailed response. I laid out everything. The unpaid hours, the system I built, the funds I injected from my own account. Attached were PDFs of contracts, unpaid invoices, and a spreadsheet of personal expenses I covered. The post went semi-viral in our industry circle. 3 old clients reached out, furious that they'd been lied to. 2 competitors offered interviews. 1 offered to buy my system outright. That was just phase 1. Then came the real detonation. Remember the Lexus? Turns out, my sister didn't register it in her name. She didn't have the credit. Dad used mine again, without permission. I pulled the registration documents and submitted proof of identity theft. The DMV froze the title. The insurance lapsed. Within 48 hours, the car was towed from their driveway. She posted a crying selfie on Instagram, mascara streaking, sobbing into the camera. They took my car. My only transportation. I guess some people really hate seeing you succeed. But I wasn't done. I leaked one more thing, anonymously, of course, to a mid-tier journalist who covers small business fraud. A simple folder. Nothing explosive, just enough to start a quiet article. Headline: Veterans Grant Misused? Local business owner under review. That was the grant Dad applied for last year. A government loan that required active veteran status. Except Dad was never active duty. Just reserve. In the form, the official one, showed it. I had it. Grandpa gave it to me years ago, just in case. And now, just in case had arrived. The article didn't name names, but it mentioned the company, the grant, the paperwork, and the investigation. Monday morning, the IRS website crashed from a sudden spike in search traffic on one local tax ID number. Tuesday morning, their accountant resigned. By Wednesday, their bank account was flagged. And me? I just made coffee. They weren't facing me anymore. They were facing the consequences. They invited me to dinner. Like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't smeared my name across social media, sent debt collectors after me, or filed a fake police report saying I stole a family vehicle. The message came from Mom. Let's talk. Please. No drama. Just dinner. Just family. For a second, I almost laughed. For another, I almost said no. Then I said yes. Because I wasn't coming to talk. I was coming to end it. I picked the place, a mid-tier steakhouse just off the highway. Public enough for them to behave. Private enough for me to land the final blow. They didn't know I'd reserved the table. They didn't know I picked the corner booth with clear sightlines. And they didn't know who else I invited. I got there 15 minutes early. Sat with my back to the wall. Waited. Then I saw them. Dad, Mom, and my sister. My sister looked smug, full makeup, hair curled, like it was some PR event. Dad walked like he still owned something. Mom wore pearls. Like that would soften what was coming. They sat. No greetings. Mom started with her soft voice. We just want to understand what's happening. Why you're doing this to us. To your sister. I said nothing. Dad jumped in. This stunt with the Lexus, petty. And now I hear you're trying to destroy the company? That's real nice. Real grown-up. I smiled. I haven't destroyed anything. Yet. You're ungrateful, he said, slamming his hand on the table. Everything we've done for you, and this is how you repay us? Everything you've done for me? I said, finally leaning forward. You mean the tax fraud? The identity theft? The fake vet grant? That's what you're talking about. Their faces dropped. I took out my phone, opened the folder, and laid it on the table like a silent bomb. Screen recordings of back-end financials showing my hours of unpaid work. The co-signed loan forged signature. DMV report on the Lexus ownership. PDF, showing dad's reserve-only status. Screenshot of a group chat between them and an uncle. He's too emotional to be trusted. Let him implode. Then came the final piece. The USB stick. I slid it across the table. Mom looked at it like it was ticking. That's your voice, Mom, I said calmly, telling Aunt Carla that I was moody and borderline unstable, that you were only keeping me close for the money. Her eyes widened. Dad looked like he was going to stand up. Sit down, I said. He did. You think this is about revenge? It's not. It's exposure. I'm done being your insurance policy. I'm done being the invisible son who pays the bills while you gift Lexuses and fake love to a daughter who fakes everything. Watch your mouth, Dad growled. Oh, you want to talk about mouths? I turned to my sister. You remember sending this? I opened a text thread and tilted it so Mom could see. A message from my sister to a mutual friend. He's so clueless. He pays for everything and still thinks he's part of the family. My sister lunged across the table, grabbed for my phone. Too late. From behind us, someone stood up. Tall, calm, familiar. Is this the part where I speak? He asked. Jake. My sister's ex. The one she said cheated on her, emotionally abused her, made her hate men. He walked forward, opened a black folder, and placed printouts in front of my parents. Emails. Messages. Her breakup plan. Her notes on how to destroy him if he ever left. Screenshots of bank transfers. Photos she took without his consent. Her notes under them. Use this if he tries to lie. I stayed silent, he said, but not anymore. She told me you all knew. That you helped her craft the story. Maybe you didn't, but you believed it. And that's enough. Silence. You could hear a pin drop, or maybe just the sound of their myth cracking down the middle. My sister opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Mom looked down at her lap. Dad? He looked at me like he had nowhere left to run. Then the final blow. I pulled out the envelope Grandpa had mailed me. Inside, the amendment to the family trust. Am I out? Dad removed. Only one heir. Me. I didn't ask for this, I said. But he said he was tired of pretending to. Dad exploded. You think you win because of some old man's money? He stood. People turned. Waiters froze. Jake calmly stepped back. I stood up, calm as a monk. No, I said. I win because I finally saw you. Clearly. And now, so does everyone else. I turned to walk away. You'll regret this. Dad shouted after me. You'll need us one day. I paused. Looked over my shoulder. No, I won't. Then I walked out, leaving behind the noise, the lies, and the people who used my love as leverage. They wanted dinner. They got their last supper. The next morning, I changed my number. Not because I was scared. Because I was free. No more, are you coming over this weekend? No more, Emma needs help with her car again. No more, just until next month, we promise. I sat in my new apartment, blinds half drawn, coffee in hand, watching the skyline blink awake. For the first time in years, silence didn't feel dangerous. It felt earned. 2 days after the dinner, I closed every joint account I ever shared with them. Bank. Insurance. The shared phone plan Dad insisted I keep running, so he didn't lose the number he used for work. Gone. I sold the Lexus. Technically, it wasn't theft. It was mine. The title was in my name. The car that had been parked in their driveway like some monument to betrayal? I had it towed, detailed, and flipped it within 48 hours. With the money, I did something they never expected. I booked a one-way flight to Lisbon. Then I canceled it. Not because I was afraid to leave. Because I realized I didn't need to escape anymore. They were the storm. I just had to step outside of it. The following week, I filed a full forensic audit of the family business. Quietly. Efficiently. I had the receipts, the tax gaps, the duplicated invoices Dad submitted to the grant office. I didn't report him. I didn't need to. I just submitted a certified withdrawal of my developer's license and revoked back-end permissions. The website broke the next day. They couldn't even log in. Then came the calls, not from them, but from their clients. I forwarded them all to a lawyer I now kept on retainer. Not a single word from me. Just silence and a firewall of legal boundaries they couldn't cross without burning their fingers. Emma tried a different route. She had a new number. She texted from it once. You made your point. Can we move on? I didn't reply. 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail. From a creditor, one I didn't recognize. Apparently, she had tried to open a new line of credit using an address I used to share with them. Still under my name. Still with an old utility bill as proof. I took it to a notary. Then to a fraud attorney. I filed a formal cease and desist. 3 days later, Emma posted a story of herself crying in a car. The caption? Betrayal from within always cuts the deepest. She tagged no one, but I knew who it was for. I wasn't flattered. I was finished. Mom, for once, didn't say anything directly. No texts, no emails, just a forwarded message from a cousin. Your mom told us you've been struggling. If you ever need support, we're here. That was rich. Struggling? I had never been more stable in my life. I checked my accounts. No more shared liabilities. No more forgotten payments I had to fix. No more phone calls in the middle of the night asking if I could float the mortgage. I had a clean ledger. Not just financially, emotionally. And I was just getting started. I called the mortgage company. The house still technically had a backup guarantor me. So I revoked it. I sent the paperwork. They'd need to requalify on their own. They didn't. They couldn't. Foreclosure notices don't scream. They whisper, in thick envelopes with official seals. I never saw the reaction. I didn't want to. But 2 weeks later, I passed the house. The one I grew up in. The one I paid for. Protected. Saved. It was empty. No porch light. No plants. No echo of my childhood. Just a silent for sale sign staked in the ground. On my walk home, I stopped by a hardware store. Bought a small brass plaque. Nothing fancy. Just 6 engraved words. Not your house. Not your son. I didn't leave it on the lawn. I didn't nail it to the door. I kept it in a drawer in my new place. A reminder. A line they could never uncross. A month passed. Then another. I got a letter from Grandpa, the only one who never begged or blamed. Inside was a check. No note. No signature. Just the memo line. You did what I never could. I didn't cash it. I framed it. Because what I needed wasn't more money. What I needed was what I finally had. A life with no strings. I stopped flinching when the phone buzzed. Stopped waiting for the next guilt trip disguised as a just checking in. Stopped replaying every memory like maybe I'd missed something. Some hint. Some reason why they turned me into their safety net and called it love. The truth? They never saw me as a person. I was a function. A fallback. A plan B in a family where plan A had a prettier smile and leather seats. And once I said no, they lost their minds because they never thought I would. But I did, and I never went back. It's been 2 months. Long enough for the dust to settle. Long enough to know it won't. Dad's been spotted trying to restart the business under a new name. Good luck. The grant files alone will keep him in paperwork purgatory until he chokes on his own lies. Emma moved in with a friend. The Lexus money never came back, and I'm told she's between opportunities, which is a pretty way of saying she ran out of people to lie to. Mom, she's sending birthday cards again. The kind that don't say sorry, just little pastel bombs with things like thinking of you in glitter font. No return address. No name. But the handwriting's the same. I don't open them anymore. Instead, I collect them in a shoebox labeled evidence of hope. Not because I want to feel it, because I want to remember what it costs. Last week, I made the final move. I bought a small building downtown. 2 stories. Brick facade. Quiet corner. I've been renovating the top floor into a workspace. Below, a glass door with a new sign. Golden Boy Solutions. Yeah, I named it after the nickname they used to mock me with. Golden Boy, Dad used to say. Thinks he's better than us just because he knows how to reset a password. Now it's carved in steel. Underneath, smaller letters. Only fools waste loyalty. I don't expect them to walk past it. But if they do, they'll see it. And if they don't, even better. I'm not angry anymore. That part's over. What I am is done. I don't forgive. I don't forget. I don't send cards. I don't check their Facebook pages. I don't explain myself in kitchens where I was once served shame like a side dish. I live. On my terms. The ones where I don't answer when they cry. The ones where love has a receipt and they never paid it. They think silence is punishment. It isn't. It's a boundary. And for the first time in my life, it's not just drawn. It's enforced.